You go.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm calling the Southborough Board of Health meeting to order on Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. It's 12:16 p.m. This is a Zoom only meeting, and at this time we have myself and Dr. Medina present. First order of business is public comment. So if you have anything in the Zoom room that you want to bring up, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, we have no attendees, so move on from that. Approval of minutes from the 1/23/24 meeting. I had one change to that.
Okay.
On the discussion on business administrator job description, I would take out Ms. Malinowski has reached out to the chair, but has not had a response from him.
Yep.
I would just say the Board of Health is awaiting next steps.
Okay. Got it.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. We're just doing the minutes. Did you have any changes?
Nope.
After?
No changes on my part. I reviewed them earlier. No changes.
Okay. So I will move that we accept and release the January 23rd, 2024 minutes as amended this afternoon.
Mhm.
Is there a second?
A second vote aye.
Zulik, aye.
Malinowski, aye. Thank you. 98 Southville. So I do not see Mr. Haskins in the room. But I think we should probably just
I have him on the phone with me. He's having difficulty with
okay.
an update.
Okay. So I think we can just give him an update, Heather, that this board met in executive session related to the housing issues at 98 Southville, and the position of the board is to continue to work with Mr. Haskins on rectifying the complaints that are held up in housing court right now, which are the heat limitations as well as smoke detectors and thermostats. So I would.
He's in.
Oh, he's in. Okay. Ah, there he is.
Here
Oh,
we go.
there he is.
Great. Mr. Haskins, can you hear us? You should be able to unmute yourself. I'll ask you to unmute. Hold on. There you are. Can you hear us?
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Haskins. How are you today? So we just wanted to give you an update based on our last conversation, Mr. Haskins, when we had town council here and he outlined the three options that the board had, and the board had the opportunity to meet in executive session on that. And we wanted to let you know that the board's position is that we want to continue to work with you on rectifying the housing complaint issues, which are the heating and the smoke detectors and thermostats.
Well, the smoke detectors and thermostats on the right side, as I hope everyone realizes, were removed by the tenant. They have been replaced. On the other side, the same thing appears to have happened, although I don't have access, so I don't know whether there even is a problem with the thermostat on the left side. But I don't have access to resolve any of these things.
So,
these are things apart from the furnace issues. One of the furnaces, as you know, has been repaired.
yes.
The other things were either entirely fictional, and that will not be difficult for me to prove when the time comes, or were done by the tenants. And nevertheless, all but possibly one of them would have been done in October, would have been taken care of in October if I'd had access. So I'm not the one dragging my feet.
Yeah, and I think the board is, that's why we picked the second option, Mr. Haskins. We just want to continue to help to get this to resolution. And I know that Michael and Heather have been in communication with you. So I just wanted to make sure we gave you an update on that front, and we are getting regular updates from Michael and Heather as needed on the specifics of the requests.
Okay.
Safdar, did you have something?
What did you mean about the thermostat? Can you clarify that?
Okay, well, both units simultaneously, wonder of wonders, developed all of the same problems at the same time, and both tenants were not paying rent prior to this. And called Michael when they received the notice to quit, essentially notice to that they were going to be evicted. The one on the left side, Ms. Gove told me that the thermostat wasn't working, screaming on the phone at me. I think it was the middle of the night. I have never had access since to find out whether there is a problem with that thermostat or not.
Okay.
So the other unit on the right, the thermostat, which had been removed by the tenant, which he had done the previous winter as well. And that has been replaced, and the smoke alarms have been replaced. I have alarms to install on the left side to replace the ones that again mysteriously disappeared. I don't have access.
And the furnace that you repaired, is that for the unit where the thermostat has been replaced?
Yes, that
Okay.
unit has the fire department came and replaced the smoke detectors. Michael and I had 2 visits there to get to resolve the problem of the disconnected and vandalized thermostat. Those, and that furnace on the right side where Donahue and Bendo live, those things are working, and there remain entirely resolvable small things there, most of which were done by them, possibly not all. I don't have access. On the left side, again, I don't even know what, I kind of doubt that there actually is a thermostat problem on the left side. I have no way to verify it. And apparently there are no smoke detectors in there. She's not living there. And makes, I don't have access. I don't know.
But you have access to the furnace on the left-hand side.
Yes, that's in the basement. So
Okay,
I'll give you an update if you need an update on that.
Yeah.
sure. Why don't you give us an update on that?
Okay, I didn't know whether Heather had shared the email update that I gave her, but I obviously with tenants now owing me, though between the two of them, $16,000 in unpaid rent, and as of March 1st, it'll be almost another it'll be 20, and the previous tenant left owing me 8. I am way behind in my mortgage. I'm almost out of food, etc. And I was not in a position to hire a company to put in a new furnace. It simply wasn't conceivable. I don't know. I think none of this is new to you. What I had to do is scour the internet, Craigslist and eBay and things, to try to find a used furnace. And I came close to getting one a couple of times, and they weren't close enough to just grab them without, again, but the tree fell on my car during the windstorm a couple of months ago, and I have no transportation right now. So anyway, I did get access to a used furnace that is presently being held for me. Is all of this new to you? None of this, you were not made aware of?
Yeah.
It's all new. Okay. So I did get my hands on a used furnace. The price is a little bit flexible, and the person is quite willing to not to deliver it without being receiving the payment up front, because he knows my situation. And that can be installed rather quickly, and that furnace could be up and going. The problem is that then there has to be a professional to come and inspect it and verify that it's okay. And I did send an email in response to Cindy Beard Henderson at the senior center, because she had given me the impression that they would have $1,000 toward a furnace, and then we could apply to the emergency trust fund or whatever it is for any additional monies needed to solve this problem. And then she said, oh, okay, well, the hurdle now with the used furnace would be getting the permit. So the permit would have to be presumably pulled by a professional. I don't know whether there's leeway in that. Some things a homeowner is allowed to do and some they're not. Installing a furnace, as I wrote carefully in the email I sent yesterday to both Cindy Henderson Beard and Heather, is not nothing difficult about it. It's like changing a tire. I understand it would have to be verified by a professional, but there's no practical reason why I couldn't go ahead if I had some help from the town in buying that furnace and get it in. And there's no other option that is anywhere near as affordable as that. I mean, I did get an estimate for a new one over the phone last night, and it was $7,200, and that's significantly lower than I thought it would be. I thought it would be closer to 10,000, and so the low end for a new furnace with installation and all would be probably it. Hold on just one second. I don't know who this is. Lou, I gotta call you back. Okay, bye. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So the low end for a new furnace would be, over 7,000. Again, that's significantly less than I feared it would be. So this option, the used furnace, is within reach if I get any of the sort of help that Cindy Henderson Beard said the town was likely able to provide.
Okay, Heather?
My understanding from Cindy, there's two different funds. So the one fund, the emergency fund, has been approved for up to $1,000, but that would go directly to a contractor. And then the other fund, the trust fund, it could potentially cover more, but Mr. Haskins, as far as I understand, you haven't applied for that fund with Cindy Beard. And so in terms of the first fund with the $1,000, that would go to a professional to install said furnace, but that would likely cost more than that. But the second fund, the trust fund, right, you haven't done the application for, and also the application for the fuel assistance is still reaching some other hurdles, right, Mr. Haskins?
Yeah, let me answer that one first. As I explained to you a few days ago, I began the process, I don't know, a week or two ago, of applying online for light. First, I tried to get onto the National Grid reduced electric rate list, because that was what SMOC told me was the entree point to their assistance. And then I found that I needed to be either currently registered with Mass Health, and that my Mass Health, which I haven't used for years, but it expired in January when I was preoccupied with this. And for me to get re-registered, I would have to pay 2 months of premiums to do that. And the alternative is to wait until next January. So I don't qualify unless I can't qualify for the National Grid list, which SMOC uses for some bureaucratic reason as their, whatever. And so the next alternative is to qualify through LIHEAP. And I began that process online. And I ran into a block in that I don't have a digital ID. So you have to have a digital ID. So I applied to the Registry of Motor Vehicles to get a digital driver's license that I could upload onto their website. And days and days have passed and I've heard nothing from them. So, and by the way, I don't even have a current driver's license because when one of the times that my tenant broke into my apartment, he stole my wallet, and I don't have a current. The driver's license that I have is like 10 years out of date. So there are these, you know, it's just a whole bunch of things that have prevented me from going forward with that. I will continue. As far as applying for the emergency fund, as Cindy Henderson Beard and I had apparently a misunderstanding. I had said to her when she first spoke to me weeks ago, okay, let's do it. And then she, I think it was yesterday in an email, was wondering why I hadn't, I don't know, given the go ahead. And I said, well, I thought I did. So she said, oh, well, okay, then I'll start the process. Well, okay. Then the third thing you just mentioned, Heather, is the $1,000. So yeah, no, to pay a contractor to install it would be, I would imagine, not less than $3,000. Now, as I've said, and I had done this some years ago, and it was not a difficult thing. As far as I know, the only thing that's necessary is for a professional, a licensed professional.
Well, the activation, the $1,000 is required to go through a licensed
Well,
professional.
well, hold on, I don't know anything about that. So the $1,000 could not be applied to purchase of a used furnace?
I have Cindy's email. I would ask her, but it says that the $1,000 does not go, for example, to you or to buying a thermos from someone, furnace from someone, but it goes to a licensed professional.
I think that's not exactly what she wrote. What she said is no, I don't think she said it cannot go to buying a used furnace. I don't think she said that at all. That would be a little bit odd.
I can read the piece of the email if
Yeah,
folks
please.
want to hear that. Chelsea, okay. The Southborough Emergency Committee is only able to approve the $1,000 if you pull a permit, which would require that you use a licensed technician, HVAC, plumber, electrician, etc. Hiring a licensed installer would require more money in addition to the purchase of the used furnace. It is unclear as to how you would be able to do this without money. Unless you're able to hire a licensed installer and meet the state regulations for installing a furnace, the request would be denied.
Right. The way I understand that, and Cindy could say that I'm wrong, but the way I understand that is that she's simply saying that as far as installation goes, it has to, the cost of it, whatever is being charged for installation has to be paid to a licensed installer. But I don't read from that the money could not be applied to buying a used furnace from a private party.
Well, there's one more sentence. Hold on. I am sorry this didn't work out. If you were able to come up with the money to hire a licensed installer that can pull a permit, then we can revisit this.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, that I think that unless she didn't express herself clearly, what she seems clearly to be saying to me is that as far as the installation goes, there needs to be a permit, and there needs, the money for installation wouldn't go to me, but I wasn't expecting to be paid for installation. She doesn't say there at all that all part or all of that $1,000 could not go to buying the furnace from a.
Or I guess it would sort of be about an estimate. I mean, if the installation, they just have up to $1,000 based on that emergency fund. The trust fund is different, and that's the one that hasn't been applied to, that potentially could be more money.
Oh,
But if the
I understand that,
installation-
but that's why
right.
I mentioned that the person who's willing to sell the furnace has agreed to be flexible. And so if I mean, in other words, this, I don't see a barrier. I don't see a barrier here at all.
So maybe it might make sense to touch base with Cindy again and just explain where you're at, Mr. Haskins. And, you know, if you want somebody from the health department side to join you in that conversation, Heather can probably join you on that.
Okay, yeah, the thing I wrote in my reply to the email that she just read, which was copied also to Heather, is that as far as I'm concerned, there's simply no reason why I couldn't bring the furnace in and hook it up. I mean, it's an oil line, it's 2 wires, it's a smoke static exhaust pipe, and the warm and cool air in ductwork. It's not, there's nothing dangerous about it. There's nothing complicated about it. And
I do
as
think you
wrote-
need to have a licensed professional do the work. So
Well, that's what I'm questioning. I don't, first of all,
it-
uh,
permits have to be pulled in
well,
order to
I
do the work,
didn't say
replace
that.
the furnace.
I didn't say that a permit doesn't have to be pulled, but that's not hundreds of dollars. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's not.
Right, I guess the estimate that we don't know is how much would the permit and the installation cost? Because what Cindy's saying is she's concerned that it might be a couple thousand over that 1,000 that would be available from the
What I'm trying to
emergency
say-
fund, and hence,
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say clearly here is the 2 costs that we have to be concerned about are the permit and getting somebody to certify it, because it's like a plug and play situation. I mean, I literally have done it before. I can plug the thing in, so to speak, and someone with a professional, having pulled the permit, can come and verify, yes, this is properly done and it's safe. Those 2 things probably would cost a total of $200, just a guess. Somebody certifying it and having pulled a permit. It's probably about $200. You know, this is not rocket science. You know, the reason, frankly, why a lot of these things, there's something very arbitrary about lots of the code, because there are things that people can do without hiring a professional, like a lot of electrical stuff. And yet you can't do plumbing, from what I understand, because why? The plumbers union has more clout on Beacon Hill. That's all there is to it. To plug in a furnace is, and we're not talking about a gas furnace. Okay, there's no gas line. There's nothing.
Yeah, I think we just need to make sure that the appropriate rules are followed. And so that's kind of where this
Okay,
line of
well,
questioning
there
is coming
no-
from.
Yeah, there is no other, sorry to interrupt you. There is no other short-term solution. And a long-term solution might see me homeless, okay, and permanently homeless and never recovering, because nobody's paying rent. And one of the reasons they're not paying rent is because were so delighted by these reports that Michael read out to them, which are 95%, or not 90, let's say 80% nonsense.
Yeah, so you know what, Mr. Haskins, I'm gonna stop you there. Like, Michael works for us. His job is to make sure that he follows the code and the law, and that's what this board expects of him. So you can dispute all day long that you don't agree with the law and what he's documented. But that's what his job is, and that's what we've asked him to do. So I think we're done with this conversation for today. And we look forward to continuing to hear progress as you make it closer to resolution.
Okay, so you understand that if I'm told that I have to pay $3,000 or something to a professional to install it, I'm probably going to end up being homeless. You
So, Mr.
understand?
Haskins, Heather just gave you an option to apply for a trust grant opportunity that you have not taken the steps to do yet. So at least from this committee's, from this board member's purview, and I'll let the others weigh in, I'd like to see that happen before we start talking about what we're gonna do to you. That is not what this board is here for. We're here to make sure that we give you every opportunity to rectify the situation, which is exactly why when we met in executive session, we chose option number 2 to continue to work with you so that the tenants who are living there are safe, and you who's also the landlord and lives there, are safe. So there's nothing that this board's going, you're in charge of your own destiny here, and you need to follow all of the opportunities that you're given. We're very fortunate that there are other avenues to try to assist you.
And one of the things that Cindy Henderson Beard said to me when this first came up is that process is not going to happen so quickly as the emergency fund. So
I understand that, but hopefully we talk about short-term fixes and long-term fixes. This is a long-term fix. So we're expecting you to take the time that it would take to apply for that grant and hopefully get it so that you have a long-term solution. And we're not talking about the other things that you discussed.
But those
as
are
happening.
imminent. No, those are already imminent. I'm going to be 4 months behind my mortgage because of the non-payment of rent as of March 1st.
That is not something that this board can address. So if that is something that you're dealing with, you need to pursue other avenues about getting back payment with rent, or if there's been legal things done to your property, that's not something the Board of Health has jurisdiction over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haskins. We're going to move on to our next agenda item.
Okay.
Okay, Greater Boroughs for Public Health Partnership for Health, and the revised IMA and membership are underneath that topic, even though they're broken out into two on the agenda. So, we entered into an IMA 3 years ago. I think it was July 1st of 2021 for the Greater Boroughs, which is with Boylston, Westboro, and Northborough and us. And every 3 years we have to renew that IMA. So we're up this year. So there is a draft out there that's been reviewed by Northborough Town Council, and it was composed, and I forget the name of the company, Heather, if you, or Taylor. I can't remember. They're attorneys. They do this. I don't remember.
There's obviously a lot of shared services in this.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of acronyms involved. So
Massachusetts Association of Health Boards provided an example, but I don't know who works with Northborough.
yeah. So Isabella Caruso, who's the interim health director, has taken the lead on this. It's been reviewed by Northborough Town Council. And we have a Greater Boroughs meeting the 27th, I think, for the 4 towns who are involved to review this. We've already seen one version of it. And then what will happen is that board will bless it and then take it back to their boards of health and select boards for approval. So I just wanted to let you know that that is going on. And the way that they're structuring it is so that we don't have to do this every 3 years. We just need to update the addendum that includes the activities that are related to what we do for Greater Borough. So that way we're not locked in for what we can use the funds for from a self-governance perspective, not necessarily from like what the grant will allow. So two kind of different things. It's more like what the towns have agreed to that will be included. So then we'll just have to update the addendums as needed. So I just wanted to let you know that that is happening. And I did give the select board a heads up that we'll need to be in front of them to present that because they have to sign off on IMAs. Any
And
questions
we
on that?
don't, and
Okay.
now isn't the step where we would have town council look at it, or
We will after
After.
boroughs. Yeah. Yeah. But I think once one town council looks at it, then you just let them know Northborough looked at it, and then just as long as there's nothing glaring, I think hopefully we won't be like nitpicking. And then the other thing is the membership. So I don't think we've ever revisited our membership for Greater Boroughs. And prior to me being on the board, I think it was Mary Lou was the other member with you, Heather, originally.
I think Mary Lou was probably almost gone, but yeah, when.
Yeah, but I think she's before like the IMA
You're
was,
right, the first.
yeah.
Yep.
And I unless anybody else on the board wants to do it, it's like a quarterly meeting. And we we discussed like the budget and how things are gonna get allocated. So obviously it's been, I mean, it's been pretty consistent from like a housing need for us, but I mean, Taylor can speak to some of the nursing stuff that has shifted over time, but we do review that as a board. There's other grants that we talk about as part of this conversation too, that is helpful. And then, you know, supplies and how we're gonna share resources for like CPR and flu clinics. So that kind of conversation happens with these boards. So I just wanted to see now that Northborough kind of has to reorganize, if anybody on here, Liz or Safdar, had any interest in doing it. I'm happy to continue. I just wanted to give you the option.
Can we split depending on when the meetings are? Do you know when they are?
They're
Yeah,
often
so
Wednesday at 2 often.
they're they're Wednesdays at
Often
2
Wednesday at
usually.
2.
Yes.
That's a time I can't do, but if they're like, if they alternated times, we could potentially, like if they have ever an evening meeting or something, I could do that or.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't usually do evenings. I think our next one is the off-cycle one. That's Tuesday, during the day.
Yeah, if that might work for me. So if you want to just send me some info, I'd be happy to
Okay.
divvy that up a little bit so that,
Okay.
you get where some of them is going.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So we have a main member and an alternate member. So maybe I'm just trying to think because I don't want to have a quorum at that meeting.
I would say just either one of us goes, and that
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So why don't we restructure a little bit? Because Taylor and Heather's the main member now. Taylor goes anyways. She's just
Mhm.
not a voting member, but I
Mhm.
can't have us both be there, Safdar. So maybe you and I be the main and the alternate,
Yeah,
because Heather and Taylor can go anyways. And then if you are there or I are there, we're the voting member.
sounds good. Sounds
Okay,
good.
so does that sound good to everyone? Okay, so I'm gonna move that for the Greater Boroughs for Public Health Partnership, that Chelsea Malinowski is the main member and Safdar Medina is the alternate member.
Yeah.
Second,
Second, aye.
Zulik, aye.
all right, Malinowski is aye. Okay, so we can update that, and then obviously we still have staff there anyways, if needed. Or we need them anyways, but you know what I mean? Okay. All right, opioid settlement. So we have this on the warrant article for town meeting. I had a good conversation with Sarah Castle and Kathy Cook and Andrew Pfaff about like the goal of utilizing these funds. You know, I think they understand the intent of what we're looking to do. And I know Safdar in the last meeting, you had brought up some other ideas. So once I think we'll work out with Northborough how we're going to do that community outreach piece. And then continuing to work with the town departments as we move forward with this. For town meeting though, Safdar, do you want to speak to these funds if there's any question on them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'd just love to, like, so I guess when we talk about this at town meeting, we're not allocating anything specific, right?
No,
At this point, right? So
we're
it's
just releasing 2 years of funds.
releasing 2 years of funds. So people may just have questions on general ideas is what I'm
Yes,
assuming. Okay.
yes.
Should be fine.
Or the process, like we have to do this community outreach and then we'll be defining what we use for the funds, and the community outreach hopefully will include people who are recovering or currently using. But that's what the intent is. And then there's some pretty extensive reporting that has to happen with these funds. If it's over a certain dollar amount, I think we would want to continue with reporting even if we're not over a certain dollar amount. And any collaboration that we can do with Northborough, I think would benefit both communities.
When is town meeting?
The 23rd, March 23rd at 10 a.m.
I'm
And-
away the 16th, so I just wanted to double
Okay.
check in March. I'm like, yeah.
Do we have a time on when we think we'll be on the docket for that yet? I think I sent you a note, but it's the same day.
It
that
starts at
Happy Drug
10,
Hunt.
is that correct? It starts at
Does start
10?
at 10 and they're gonna go
And
straight
there's
through
no
this.
break. Yes, and the clerk reminded us to remind the board that if you want a meeting room in Fratier that morning, you can book one if you guys want that. And if you wanted slides when you're presenting, those are due the 15th.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Anything to present.
that we'll need a room this time. Sorry,
I don't
I'm
think
just
there's
looking-
anything to really present about opioid settlements.
No,
Just the field questions. The one thing that can come up is we've got the Encompass grant for 5 years. It's
Yep.
drug-free. So I think people may ask about that because that's been out in the public, and I think I think there's enough community outreach, in my opinion, that that doesn't serve necessarily. But I guess the question comes up is, once we get these funds, what is the time to use these funds? Because that grant expires, that grant is only for a certain amount of time.
yeah,
These could be used, if they are able to be used longer, then this is something that's can sustain the things that Encompass starts.
You get an annual payment. I think it might be
Yeah.
12 years, but the first year is bigger, but
the
then.
first two are bigger and then it
gets-
like drops off. So the
And then the-
opioid settlement, go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm just looking at the warrant. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, so the drug-free communities one is 5 years, right? Right, Heather?
Yes.
So, or Taylor. So that way, again, if it's 12 years, I think there's a reason we can still say that despite getting that, this is still, we can use this for this one. Okay. Just wanted to.
So I'm looking. Let's see it right now. We're Article 33. So it won't be for a long time. There's 54 articles.
Oh, that's good. Well, good for me personally.
Okay.
So I had to come a little bit later in the day. I just want to go to the Easter egg hunt at 11 with my kids.
Sounds like no worries.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we'll have the budget. The budget is Article 5.
The week of, they hear on the consent calendar, but they think it'll be maybe 19 of total of the 50 will be on consent calendar.
Yeah, I mean, budget
They're not
won't be
gonna
part of
decide
consent,
yet.
but I'm not sure that they'll maybe they will put it on consent, but somebody could always hold it and then we'll be back to 33. So we'll figure it out, but that's fine, Liz. I think that's fine. And I'm not planning on having a meeting before anyway, so I think we're good.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Oh, so that's town meeting. That's all I really had to say. So we really just have two things that we need to cover. It's opioid and the budget, unless I missed something else that we need to speak to. I don't think so. That's it. All right, so upcoming meeting schedule 3/12 at 11 a.m., not p.m.
Oh, come on. I thought you guys would want to meet at the middle of the night almost. Come on.
No,
all
thank
right.
you.
Fine.
I want to make sure you're awake.
I
Yeah.
know, we're making sure I'm paying attention. Go ahead, Liz.
That works. It's good.
Okay, it's after good. Okay. Do we want to pick our April meeting? How about
School vacation, is it the week of the 22nd or the
Oh, no.
15th?
15,
15,
15th, okay.
23rd.
Yeah.
23rd,
23rd is good.
23rd?
Yeah.
What time?
11, 10:30?
11:30.
free.
11's good.
I'm
11.
free the entire morning, so whatever. works.
Taylor, Heather? 11.
Yeah.
AM, Barbara.
I got that.
All right. Okay. Great. Anybody have anything else? Okay, if you have any agenda items for next time, feel free to just shoot me a note. Nope, we don't have any public, so I'm not gonna do public comment. All right, so I move that we adjourn at 12:56.
Second, I vote aye.
I vote aye.
I vote aye. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Will you please wait 1 minute?